What up, y'all? So hopefully I'll be quick. I just wanted to talk about having a righteous view of God, and I've been on this journey to get to know God. It hasn't been that long, but one of the things that I see is that a lot of people, they don't have a righteous view of God. They really don't. And so I had the thought process of I had the thought came to my mind about, when you do something wrong, or oh no, there's this particular person that we'll debate from time to time, and I just got into a point where I just said, you know what, Lord, you're gonna have to do it for him because I can't convince him, and he has such um, a legalistic. He's so stupid, Brittany. He has such a legalistic understanding of God, and he still thinks that salvation is by works and by when it comes to, when I say works, meaning like relying on your obedience to keep you saved instead of accepting what God considers obedience, which is your faith alone. Like the obedience that God wants you to have is just to believe. That's all you have. That's the only obedience that God requires for you to be saved is, hey, believe in my son. That that will be counted to you as a righteous thing, and you will be considered righteous in my eyes because you believed in my son, and that's it. And so just thinking about the guy, I was like, I said, God, he still thinks what he thinks, and so I just said, God, have mercy on him, but then the thought came to my mind, I was like, well, he says he believes that Jesus is real, so even though his doctrine may be off, he's still counted righteous because he believes, that Jesus is real. So thank God for that. Okay. But, I said, okay, when you meet God and you've lived your life, with this legalistic mindset, one or two things may happen. He may have mercy, or, you may face God and he may be like, this whole time on this earth that you were living, yeah, you believed in my son, but you caused so many people, or you caused some people to view me in a light that I never intended for people to view me in. And so, you know, when I think about God, I think about God as like my dad. Like I think about him as like my father, like legit, like that's my pappy. That's my pappy. But but yeah, so have you ever, had a conversation with your dad, and just because of his disappointment in you, that in itself just made you like, man, I disappointed my dad, and that really just, kind of touched your heart, like I messed up, and so I feel like we have this view of God, and I wouldn't say not everybody, but some of us have this thought of him as just this wrathful, vengeful God that's just waiting to just inflict hell on people. And it's like, wow, why do you, wow, like you really think that God is really like that. And so I'm not saying that when I say God is like, I mean, he's like that towards his children. Like I feel like the wrath of God was poured out on Jesus so that anybody who would believe on him will be saved. But I do think that, hey, yes, if you don't believe that Jesus is Lord and Savior, then yeah, you will be judged by the law, and his wrath will be poured upon you at the end. But right now, while we're here, there's grace, and he's giving everybody a chance to just believe. And I wish that people just would think of God as, hey, he wants relationship with me. He wants fellowship with me. He wants to commune with me. He wants me to talk to him. He wants me to understand how much he loves me. Like Like God is like legit, like you're like that best friend, like, you know, like your dad. Like God can be all things to you. Like I go to God about everything. Like he's like my best friend. He's my dad. He's my provider. You know, he's a lot of things for me. And so that brings me such comfort that I have a God that's willing to just do life with me, you know? And it's, for me, hell isn't even in my mindset anymore, because it's like, it's not even about, for me, it's not even about, man, I don't want to go to hell. Really, for me, it's like, man, I don't want to ever not know you. That's where it is for me. Like I remember years ago talking to God, and I said, God, I don't want to love you because I don't want to love you because I don't want to go to hell. I just want to love you. Like I told God, I said, God, if hell was never on the table, if that was never on the table, I want to be able to say, I chose you. Like let's say that God's choice was, okay, it's either me or stay on this earth. Like that is your choices. I want to be able to say, I just have gotten to know this God, and he's so freaking awesome, you know, and I choose him because life without him isn't life at all, you know. And so that's where my mindset is. But I think that because, and like I said, I'm still processing these things, so you can definitely check me, reference me, whatever. But definitely, like, I do feel like God does hate sin. He does hate when people murder, when people lie, when people do things, because it takes you away from your God given identity that he wants to give all of us, you know. Like, so I feel like on the forefront, from just straight up, God just wants to have a relationship with his creation, period. And I think, unfortunately, because our nature is to do bad things, is to gossip, is to lie, is to cheat, is to steal, that's our nature, right? I think that God's like, look, I love you and I want you, but I also hate sin. I hate what your natural nature is. But guess what? I've made a way for, or I've made a way for you to kind of become like me, which is just belief. That's it. Like, just believe that I'm real, you know, so that when you come to fellowship with me, naturally, because you have a relationship with me, you will start to walk like me, talk like me, because we formed this bond, you know. And then the more time that you spend with me, the more that you aren't the things that I don't want you to be, you know, which is to lie, which is to steal, which is to kill, you know. Like, the more that you hang out with me, you're gonna be like what I've called you to be. But the more you don't hang out with me, you're gonna be like this. Now, the great thing that I love about God is that even in our imperfections, even in the fact that we may mess up, because we're not gonna always do the right thing. It's just, you know, in this flesh, we're always gonna mess up. But the great thing, though, is that doesn't bother God, because all he wants you to, that's all he requires of you, is for you to just believe that he's real, believe that his son is real. That's it, you know. And with relationship, with his faithfulness, we're good, you know. We're good, you know. So for me, me personally, I don't personally, I just don't look at God, or I don't want to continue looking at God as what I've learned him to be growing up in church. And I know that all churches aren't like how I was, like how, you know, like where I was when I was growing up. There are some great churches out there that are really preaching the gospel the right way. But I really feel like so many of us has this unrighteous view of God, instead of looking at him as someone who really wants the best for you, who's really cheering you on, who's really, you know, wanting the best for you. I don't know anything else to say that. But yeah, like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Some of us, as children of God, we think that, man, if I continue messing up, when I meet him, he's going to say, I never knew you. And that's not the case. That is not the case. God's love for you was never based upon your faithfulness to be able to do good things or be perfect. God's faithfulness to you is just who he is. It's just who he is. Like, he's good because that's just who he is. He's not good because we do good things. He's good because he's just a good God. And he's also a justful God. He's also a sovereign God. So, he rules this universe with justice. So he is the ultimate authority that knows right from wrong and knows how to implement justice, even if we may not agree with how things occur or happen in this world, so, but either way, the only way that you're going to have a righteous view of God is if you spend time with him, and if you don't have that desire, or if that's lacking in your heart and you notice that, just simply pray. Just simply ask God, hey, I need help. I'm not, I noticed that I don't really talk to you a lot, and I want to spend time with you more. I want to have a more closer relationship with you. I want to hear your voice more. I want to recognize your voice. And just simply ask him to come. Simply just ask him. The great thing that I love about God is that he's already there. He's already there. He's already been there. I think a lot of times, because we don't recognize that he's there, is because we have our attention on so many other things. We let what we see consume the fact that he really is, like, God's right next to me right now. He's He's here everywhere I go. He's everywhere I go. And that's a very comforting thing for me to know that I got God near me everywhere. He's inside of me, so that's even more comforting too. But if you want to hear his voice, if you want to get to know him more, just simply ask him, and be open to how he does it. Be open to how he does it, because the way he did it for me was very, very uncomfortable. It was very, very uncomfortable. But I'm grateful for it. I really am. I really am grateful for it, So, but love you guys. I hope that, you understood that, or I was able to, I hope that you understood what I was saying. All right. Love y'all.